Hey there, welcome. My name is Dana Damara. Welcome to Astrocast. I am so excited to bring you this final lunation reading of 2020. What an incredibly epic, life-changing year it's been in so many ways. Um, this reading in particular is the reading for the full moon Cancer of 2020, December 29th, 2020. But I encourage you, if you haven't listened already, to go back and listen to the Saturn, the Great Conjunction, and the solstice. We have had some very incredible astrology, and it's been literally life altering if we're paying attention. One thing I want to say about all of the readings and anything that you hear online from me or from anyone else is keep this in mind, okay? Everyone is affected by lunations and planetary aspects differently. This is just my interpretation of what I feel into, what I intuit, and what I see on the chart, right? But your own personal astrology, your karma, your path, that's going to dictate, how much this is really relatable to you and resonates with you. So I would say with a reading from me or from any other astrologist, really just remember that you have divine will and you have the ability to choose your path always. Okay. So I just like to put that out there. Again, this is for the full moon Cancer. So what I want to do is just take a moment before we begin and just take a few deep breaths. Just close the eyes, kind of settle in. I like to encourage people to grab a notebook or a pen or something if you want to take notes, but it's not necessary. I'm going to close my eyes for a minute or two and just take a few deep breaths so that I can really be clear and available. So here we go. We'll just close the eyes, take a breath in through the nose. Exhale all the breath out through the mouth. I tend to slow down my thinking a little bit when I breathe. Interesting concept. Go ahead and do that again. Take another breath in through the nose and then exhale all the breath out through the mouth. And then just one more time, inhale. So this idea of slow rhythmic breathing truly does calm the mind. We have about 90,000 thoughts a day, and when I go to do one of these readings, it's really important for me to slow those thoughts down. Otherwise, I get on a track that's not my own. We all do that. So with this moment in time, I just encourage you to match the breath to the thoughts. And if the thoughts are going faster than the breath, just slow them down. Release any tension around the eyebrows, the third eye, the jaw. And of course, you can stay here as long as you want. I feel pretty grounded now, so I'm going to go ahead and flutter my eyes open. But if you want to stay a little bit, please feel free to. Okay, I'm ready now. What an incredibly epic year we've had. It's amazing to really drop into some of this astrology that we've had all year, things that we haven't seen in 400, 800, thousands of years, and not just in the astrology. Lots of things coming to light this year, things that I feel like a lot of us have known have been going on in the world, and we've either forgot about them, they haven't directly affected us, or we've just chosen to not pay attention because we've had our own things happening. But I feel like this year has been a slightly challenging year at best. And this lunation will soften things a little bit. That's not meant to bypass the year and say, well, good riddance to 2020. I want to encourage you to not do that and instead use the lessons from 2020 to move into this new year with a softening, with an intelligence, with a wisdom, of all the things that have gone on, whether they have directly or indirectly affected you. But this moon will absolutely soften it and support us all in kind of coming together and really taking maybe the harsh lessons that we've learned and bringing them to a place where we can actually almost like, I keep envisioning like holding them in our hands and just going, okay, we got this. So I want to show you the map, the astrological map, so you kind of know what I'm talking about. Some of you may not know what it is, but I do try to explain this to you. So I'm going to bring you to, that's not the one. Hang on one sec. All right, let's go to, now here's where I have to put my glasses on. Bum, bum, bum. December 22 full moon. Here we go. All right. I'm going to share this with you. So some of you may know like what you're looking at and some of you may not. So I'll just give you a little bit of a overview. So December 29th, 7:28 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's when the moon is at its fullest expression. Full moon is a time to release, it's a time to celebrate, it's a time to kind of illuminate the lessons that we've been working on since the new moon. And you know what affects the moon is what sign it's in, what ruling planet it is, and also what other aspects are happening at the time of the full moon. And that's what we're going to go into. So these are all the things that we have experienced and are experiencing this month with this full moon and just before. So we've got the full moon Cancer. We've got a T-square with Chiron, and I'm going to go over these aspects with you. The moon sextile Uranus, the sun trine Uranus, Mars square Pluto, and Venus square Neptune. Now, you know, some of this is like potentially Greek to you or Italian, I don't know. But all I will say is that, again, how this could potentially affect you is where these certain planets and transits happen in your chart. We had a new moon eclipse on December 14th, followed by the solstice, followed by Saturn moving into Aquarius, followed by Jupiter moving into Aquarius. And I encourage you to go back and read or listen to the Great Conjunction video if it doesn't make sense to you. But when planets like, especially like Saturn and Jupiter, change signs, it's a big deal. And Saturn and Jupiter have been in Earth signs for a while, and now they just moved into air, which is going to soften things up for this full moon. Okay, so this is what the map, the astrological map looks like. And if you can see all those planets kind of down in the bottom there in Capricorn and Aquarius, you know, that's where the sun is. And so we've experienced a lot of activity in Capricorn this year. And interestingly, you know, the moon is directly opposite in Cancer. So we're still playing around in the sign of Capricorn, but we're moving into a little bit of lighter energy. So when we talk about the Cancer full moon, we're talking about Cancer, which is, you know, very, very soft and sensitive, but this hard shell. So each sign has, you know, a shadow side and a light side. And the beautiful, loving side of Cancer is nurturing, it's loving, it's, you know, mothering, it's this energy of deep sensitivity, psychic abilities, seeing things with love. But the shadow side of Cancer is this energy that's very hard shell, that's very, you know, Cancers in the shadow side tend to hide out. They tend to, you know, not really look at things. They just want to, you know, hide behind their shell, so to speak. And so make sure that you know that about this energy. We have this ability to kind of hide out and bypass, or we have this energy to really, this opportunity to really step into this nurturing and compassionate side of ourselves. Very vulnerable, very gentle, you know. And like I said, we're moving energetically from this a very rigid, and even when I say it, I clasp my hand together, very rigid, very, you know, lockdown, resistant, restrictive year, um, into a very open, flowing energy. And so I want you to embrace that when you can, and notice if you feel anywhere in particular in your life where you're still feeling that sense of restriction or control or discipline or fear, and maybe open the hands a little bit. Like I said at the beginning, just feeling like, okay, I'm ready to open my hands and be a little vulnerable now. Um, a great way to handle this full moon is to just overly indulge in self-care. you know, just face mask, bath, candles, appeal to all of your senses because Cancer is sensitive. So, and when Cancer feels safe and secure and loved upon, Cancer will open up. So, take time out during this full moon to be quiet, to meditate, to do anything that makes you feel safe and secure and loved. Um, and again, it's not to hide out. There's a difference. There's an absolute difference. There's just an absolute difference. So nurture yourself during this time so that you can really nurture that sense of connection to source. It's going to be really important. Um, One thing I want to say, I always like to look at my notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything, and I'm not. One thing I want to say is this full moon is also creating a T square with Chiron. So Chiron has been sitting in Aries, and those of you who have Aries, who have Chiron in Aries, you're in what we call a Chiron return. And so lots and lots of lessons. Chiron is the sacred healer, the wounded warrior. I like to say sacred healer. And it's been sitting in Aries for quite a while now. And what that does is whatever sign it's in, if you're in a Chiron return, it brings about karmic lessons. Okay. And all you have to do, if you look up in Aries, you'll see, I'll show you here. Let me make this a little bit smaller. So here is Chiron. Okay. This little KO is Aries. So just so you know where it is. Okay. Um, so with Chiron and Aries, we've been experiencing healing in that sign, right? But Chiron is creating a T square within 3 degrees of the sun and the moon. So what that does is this energy, when we allow ourselves to be sensitive and vulnerable and open, we will allow space for healing, deep healing, karmic healing, not just, a healing of um, um, something surface level, or even in like a direct relationship you have with someone or something. I'm talking potential for ancestral healing for our mothers and fathers, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our great grandparents, and lineages behind us and lineages in front of us. And I say that because the astrology really has been epic. And the lessons that have been afforded us have given us the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper. And again, this is going to, be in direct correlation to where all of this sits in your chart. So if you're not feeling this and you're feeling this isn't resonant with you, don't go digging for anything. Okay, just allow it to be. Okay, but this is energy with the full moon creating a T square to Chiron. It's activating the sacred healer. It's activating the energy of healing through love, through forgiveness, through deep compassion, through being fully awake and engaged with those lessons that came up for you this year. Not so much gripping onto them and saying, oh, well, I haven't figured this out, so I have to keep healing. Something must be wrong. Not that. Almost like, wow, I am really in a place of deep forgiveness for this experience, this person, that person, myself. And with this full moon, I solidify that. And I move into this new year with a letting go of that. Let it be done now, that sort of thing. And if you aren't sure what that is, I would say pay attention to some unresolved issues that you might have. Maybe there's something that keeps coming up in different ways. Go to that place. And if you don't know where Chiron is, if you just, well, you can always call me and I can do a reading for you, which is usually the easiest way to do it. But if you don't want to do a reading, you can do your own chart and you can see where Chiron is. And wherever Chiron is placed, it will give you a an uh, an opening, it'll shine light upon where your certain lessons, your karmic lessons, need to be focused. Okay, so different placements of Chiron tell you that, and so it's good to know where Chiron is. The other aspect I want to share with you is this full moon creating a sextile to Uranus and a trine to the sun. Okay, now Uranus and sitting in Taurus, Uranus is the planet of change. Uranus is the planet of unexpected miracles, unexpected events, a quick shift. I always say that Saturn is the planet of, it's like the toddler that like builds with the Legos or the Lincoln Logs, you know. I could be dating myself now. And Uranus is the one that comes down and like knocks it over and says, I don't want to do it that way. Right. So Uranus isn't necessarily bad or good. Uranus offers us opportunities to look at things differently and to pivot quickly. And for some of us, this year has been about knowing how to pivot, because if you didn't know how to pivot this year and your business or your life was affected, you may have struggled. So Uranus is about pivoting, and so it with it's actually a very positive aspect to the full moon. So Uranus is sextiling the moon and trining the sun, which brings about exciting events, potential for exciting events, um, a little bit more freedom. Uranus is about liberation. Now that doesn't mean being overly risky or not wise. That's all I'm going to say. But just be aware that there will be opportunities for new experiences for all of us, as long as we're open and clear, and really clear about what it is that we desire. If we're not muddled with the density of our mind, if we're not holding on to resentments, things like that, the direct relation of Uranus being able to kind of, you know, give you those flashes of insight, it's directly related to how much clutter you have going up here in the brain. So I just want to be really clear about that. Uranus is the higher mind, Mercury's lower mind. Uranus is always wanting to give you new ideas and flashes of inspiration. But if you're cluttered or you're angry or you're not really in your flow, it might be muddled. So again, go back to meditation if you have that in your practice. But it really is asking you to take some risks, whether it's with your career, or maybe you're thinking I might want to move, or a new relationship. Be wise. We all know what's going on in the world. Don't be dumb. Um, don't risk your health, but take risks. Like, be somewhere, be in a space where you're like, okay, that one thing that I wanted to do for so long, I'm going to do it now. I am free. I'm liberated. I've let go. It's that type of exciting energy, and um, when we experience a year like we have, if we've sat in our, what some people call shadow work, if we've sat in that and we've done the work and we haven't bypassed and we haven't compared ourselves to others, and we haven't kind of shut things down and off and ignored and averted, this is a time to really explore something new and to be in a space of, wow, what do I want now? So I do encourage you to really ask yourself, what is it that I've learned this year? What is it that I've really sat with and struggled with? Um, where have I been supportive? Where have I not? What are some issues I could let go of? That sort of thing. And really try to encapsulate the entire year, because this energy is really asking us to take a big risk in this new year. Remember, Saturn, Jupiter both moved into Aquarius. That's an air sign. It's like, think big, think humanitarian, think altruistic, think something that your little pea-sized brain can't even fathom. Be open to some really great idea happening, and try not to cling to old patterns. Okay, really truly try not to cling to the old stuff. It's not going to do you any good. um, I'm going to actually make this a little bit. I'm going to stop share. Okay. Um, so those are the main transits that I really want you to be aware of. I want you to be aware that, you know, you're going to have the propensity to kind of hide out. You're going to have the propensity to feel things a little bit deeper. Take the time you need to do that. Be in your meditation, take care of yourself. Really be in a space of asking God's source divine, what is it? What is it that I desire? And here's the other thing. If you actually follow the lunations, new moon to new moon to new moon to new moon to new moon all year, you have 13 chances a year to really hone in on what it is that you desire and what you can focus on. And then when that full moon comes in between those, you have that opportunity to let go of things, but you stay focused. So these readings are really for you to stay focused on a trajectory, to really get what it is that you desire or understand the lessons that are continually falling into your lap. But there's a couple other things I want to share with you that are smaller aspects, but I think they are important. Venus squares Neptune. Now, Venus is love, abundance, beauty, um, that connection with compassion and forgiveness. So, this is, and Neptune is spirituality, magic, mysticism, so they're coming together in a square, which sometimes creates a bit of, um, I don't want to say struggle, a little bit of tension because they create that 90-degree in the sky. But what I'm going to say is that there's going to be opportunities for you to honor that space of silence and meditation that will allow you to segue into trusting your intuition toward love. Okay, so what this um, aspect could potentially do is kind of push you beyond your uh, maybe perceived boundaries about what you're worthy of, because Venus is also about value, what you value or what you desire or how you love, that kind of thing. Neptune is going to kind of potentially push you past those illusions that you've kind of set out for yourself. Because remember, this has been a time of deep lessons. Okay. Um, and then Mars square Pluto. Now, Mars has had a year. Mars was in retrograde for so long this year. Okay, I'm not even going to say anything bad about Mars, okay? Because I know Mars is the initiator. Mars is the initiator. Mars directs your energy. Mars is like, let's go here, let's do this. Pluto, Mars squares Pluto. Mars squares Pluto, and Pluto is transformation. Pluto is lessons. Pluto is empowerment. So when Mars squares Pluto, it's the same type of energy that Venus and Neptune affords, but it's harsher. It's the masculine version. Mars will say, come on, your get your bootstraps up, get that courage, that confidence, move forward, move through this transformation so that you can get to the space where you feel empowered, strong, um, in your power, in your space, in your um, aliveness. It's a potential for instant manifestation. And sometimes I don't like to use the word manifestation because I think it's a little overused sometimes. Um, but I will say this: time is moving quicker. And I mean that in like the most loving, human, mystic way. So be super mindful about what you say, what you think, and how you project that out into the world, because it's happening in the blink of an eye. So be super mindful of where you're directing your thoughts. And if you think your thoughts don't matter, you're wrong. Your thoughts matter, and they're creating things. I will tell you this quick story. I was going through magazines this weekend, ripping out pages to make my vision board for the year. And I rip out this page of the Lenny Kravitz new book, right? And I was like, I'm putting Lenny Kravitz on my vision board because I have like the most massive crush on Lenny Kravitz. And I pull out the page, and an hour later, I go across the street to share Christmas with my neighbors, and she gave me his book for Christmas. Now, step one, book. Who knows what's going to happen this year? But I mean that in like such a fun way. Like, really be aware of what it is that you desire. And if you're cluttered up here, or you're still angry, or you're averting some kind of issue that you have not dealt with, it's going to it's going to mess up your path. You want to be able to be clear and free and, in this space of divine groundedness and openness with the heart. Okay. Because this full moon is beautiful. Heal those things that, brought you strife in relationships all the way back to your childhood. Take the time to be very much focused on your own self, your own self-care, forgive yourself, forgive others. Be in the space of truly connecting to God, to source, to divine, to love. I can't I can't even say it enough. Like, this is not a time to judge others, to compete with others. It's a time for you to really be true to you and be one with what you desire. It's gonna time's moving way quicker. It's you've heard astrologists say it. We're moving into the Aquarian age. We've been moving into the Aquarian age for a while, but we're in it. So I want you to feel that sense of lightness and love and peace and grace, and use that Mars Pluto energy to to serve, to support others if you can. And if you can't, use that energy to ask for help, because there's all of us are on a different trajectory, and we've got to honor where we are when we're there so that we can truly support our own self and others. Okay. I want to share my screen one more time here. This is the right one this time. Why, yes, it is. All right. So I do like to boast a little bit about these beautiful malas that I created. Gosh, it seems like so long ago. Last year in Bali, I created them with an organization called Bali Malas. And this is the Cancer one. They're made with Rudrakshka seeds from Bali. And I almost want to cry when I say that, because I all of a sudden have a yearning to go there. And then they have the lava beads in them that holds essential oils. And then each one of them, there's one for each zodiac sign, and each one of them has different crystals for that zodiac sign. So I created them, I designed them, and I sell them. And they come straight from Bali. They're handmade. And before I send them out to anybody, I make sure I do a little Reiki on them and put them out in the moon. And there's some oils there that you can obviously create on your own for Cancer, but I create them as well for you and send them along with the malas. And then here's my website, doing a whole upgrade, guys. Really important to know. Dana Damara Evolution now points to my online classes. And weekly yoga classes live stream will start full board next week, January 3rd. However, I am hosting a New Year's Eve morning class, not New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. It will be recorded, so please feel free to join, and then you can always watch it later. And then teacher training every year. Teacher training never fails. I am hosting a global online hybrid format. A beautiful, beautiful time to drop into these practices. They have saved my life many, many times this year. So, okay. Thank you. My God, thank you so much. That was just beautiful to connect. I am very happy to read your chart for you if you'd like me to read your chart. It's a beautiful time always to kind of know where you stand, and know where certain planets are in your chart, and understand how these moons can hit your chart, these full moons, these new moons. And all you need to do is get it read once, and you can just see where everything is. So if that appeals to you, please reach out to me through my website at danadamara.com. I hope you are having a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Please take care, love one another, and we'll see you soon. Namaste.